Hello and welcome to English for You. I'm Seb.
I'm Elsie.
And we are still talking about COVID-19 and how it has changed the English language. So we've been quite lucky, haven't we, living here in Taiwan this year. We've not had to social distance that much. We've had quite easy rules to follow, and we've been able to go outside and carry on going to work and school for most of the time. So, is it important for us to think about, these rules, how we can prevent COVID? Is it important for us to change our lifestyles?
Yeah, I think it's very important, and I think our lifestyle has really changed because of that. Like nowadays, we have to wear a mask.
Right.
We are taking a bus, we're taking the MRT. Yeah, like that.
Yeah, that's a very good way that we have changed our behavior so that we can prevent COVID from spreading, because it could still spread in Taiwan if we're not careful. So it's going to be difficult for us to forget about COVID anyway for the time being, because there's so many new COVID words in the English language. We're talking about it all the time. And there's still a few more words we didn't get to talk about in day one, so let's continue and find out what they are in our day 2 article.
Reading.
Don't be a COVIDiot, the language of coronavirus. Not all of the COVID words that entered the Oxford Dictionary are brand new to society. However, some of them have become much more common and therefore have earned a place in the dictionary. Some of these words describe human behavior during pandemics. Panic buying is buying large quantities of common items such as food and toilet paper. This sometimes occurs when people worry that stores will run out of important goods. Another term is the phrase shelter in place. This means to stay inside during an emergency in order to protect yourself and others. For many people recently, much of their time has been spent hiding from COVID inside their houses. Some phrases sound like they're from science fiction movies. One of them is the term patient zero. This means the first person to be infected by a particular disease. Finding patient zero could help scientists understand how COVID started. COVID has changed many things about the way we live our lives. It affects more than just health, travel, and work. It's changing our language too.
Okay, so our article begins by saying, not all of the COVID words that entered the Oxford Dictionary are brand new to society.
不一定所有的被纳入字典的新冠肺炎相关单字都是新的。There are some old ones too. Like the article tells us, however, some of them have become much more common and therefore have earned a place in the dictionary. 今天的英文练功房呢，我们还是继续要看到不定代名词。那在文章中我们看到的 some，它就是个不定代名词，它代指群体中的一些。那常见的不定代名词还有像是 one 一个，好，这是我们昨天提到的，或是 each 每个 few 很少 a few 一些 little 也是很少 a little 也是一些。那它们的用法有什么不一样？等一下会告诉同学。再来 several 是几个 many 代表许多 much 也代表许多 most 是大部分all 代表的是全部。那它们呢，除了可以当形容词之后接名词之外，也可以当作名词来使用哦。然后呢，常常放在不定代名词加上 of 再加上名词的句构当中，它表示的是在某群体当中占的数量。马上给同学们一个例句哦。Each of the students in this class needs to turn in an English essay by next Monday. 这班上的每一个学生都要在下星期一前交出一篇英文作文。那这边的 each 它只可以代替可数复数群体中的每一个。那因为只有一个，所以动词要用的是单数。再来第二个例句。He's a very kind and generous man. Most of his money goes to different charities. 他是个善良又慷慨的男人，他大多数的钱都到了慈善机构。那这边的 most 可以代替不可数或可数的群体， 当中的大部分，那这边代替前，那就代替的是一个不可数名词。那特别注意的是呢，这些代名词其中有一些只能放在可数名词前面，像是 few、a few、several、many 等等的字。那因为指涉的是复数群体当中的多个，所以动词要用复数，要特别小心哦。那不可数的有 little、a little， 还有 much。那因为是不可数名词，所以动词一律要用单数。那两者皆可的有 most、a lot of， 还有 all。那动词你就要是单复数决定了。课文这边说到的是 some of them， 群体的 them 就指的是 the COVID words that entered the Oxford Dictionary， 也就是一些新冠肺炎相关单字被纳入牛津字典里面 and therefore they have earned a place in the dictionary。Okay,
so some of these words have earned their place in the dictionary. Right, earn, that's our next vocab word. It's a verb, and earn has two meanings. The first is to deserve something through hard work or having good qualities. That's how we're using it in the article. The second meaning of earn is to receive a reward or a certain amount of money by doing work.Let's look at the difference between the two meanings with a couple of example sentences. Stacy has been studying really hard for 3 hours. I think she's earned a break. Stacy earns 45,000 NT dollars a month in her new sales job. The second sentence is talking about Stacy's earnings. That's how much money she makes.We could also call this her salary, her 薪水. If Stacy starts being paid 5,000 NT dollars more every month, we can say her earnings have risen by 5,000 NT dollars, or she's had a salary rise, or a pay rise. If Stacy gets paid by the hour, then we don't say she has a salary, we say she has a wage, W-A-G-E, 时薪。
Okay, so earn 这个动词呢，它代表赚取、博得或是赢得钱或者是事物。那文章说到呢，因为越来越常见，所以这些字博得了被纳入字典的机会。
Right. So what are these words about? What do they mean? Well, the article says some of these words describe human behavior during pandemics. Right, we saw the word behavior, which is a noun.And behavior is the way that you act. Normally, we use behavior to talk about the way that one person is acting, like this example sentence. Mandy was shocked by the child's rude behavior. Here, the child is being rude. They aren't behaving well. Behave can also be used as a verb as well. So we have behave and behavior. So with the child, we can say that they have rude behavior.You might also hear people talk about people's personalities as well. Personality is 个性. Now, personality and behavior are similar words, but personality has more to do with how someone acts and behaves in general, while behavior is more how someone acts or behaves in a particular moment or situation.Behavior
这个名词呢，代表一个人的行为举止表现。那文章提到的 human behavior， 那就是人类的行为。那 behavior 前面还可以放一些形容词哦，像是 weird 或 strange， 你放在它前面的话，代表它的行为是怪异的。Weird behavior 或是 strange behavior。那另外，刚 Seb 有提到的字 behave 这个动词，它代表的是行为表现。像是 He got home at 2 a.m. this morning and behaved very strangely. I wonder what happened to him. 他2点才到家，而且行为举止表现怪异。我纳闷他发生了什么事。那另外 behave 可以当动词用，它本来就是个动词，它另外一个意思是听话、举止端正，像是The children didn't behave themselves and made the teacher super angry. 孩子们不守规矩，让老师超级生气。那回到课文，我们说到有些字用来描述人们在大规模流行病时期的行为举止，像是什么呢？ Panic buying is buying large quantities of common items such as food and toilet paper.
Okay, so we also saw the word quantity. Let's cut and check that out now. Okay, so we have the word quantity here. Now, quantity is a noun, and the quantity of something is the amount of it that there is. So in the passage, when people are buying large quantities of common items, we can also say that they are buying a lot of them. Here's another way we could put quantity into a sentence. Rebecca is under a lot of stress because of the large quantity of work she has to do this week. So Rebecca has to do a great quantity of work. But what if she does a lot of work, but the work she does isn't very good? Well then, we could say that she did a great quantity of work, but the quality of her work was bad. Quantity means 量, while quantity means 量, while quality means 品质.
Quantity 这个名词呢，它指的是可以测量或确定的量或数量。那我们文章说的 large quantities of something 代表大量的某物。那另外我们还看到 panic buying， 它指的是因为害怕不好的事情即将发生而出现的抢购或是恐慌性购买。那这篇文章说到的是呢，人们大量购买一般的用品，像是食物和卫生纸。
The article goes on, this sometimes occurs when people worry that stores will run out of important goods. Right, yes, I've seen this happen before during typhoons, or before typhoons.
Yeah,
people
before
don't
typhoon.
go shopping
right.
during the typhoons. People are worried that they're not going to be able to go outside, or that everyone will buy something, so they all run to the store and they buy everything that they can. Okay, we saw the word occur there as well. Now, occur, that's O-C-C-U-R, is a verb, and when something occurs, it happens. Occur is basically another word for happen, but it often means something that happened without prior planning. For example, the earthquake occurred at 7 a.m. this morning. No one was planning for there to be an earthquake. The earthquake just suddenly happened. Here's another sentence. This morning, the sunrise occurred at 5:46 a.m. Again, we don't plan when the sun is going to come up, it just comes up. So what if we want to talk about something that was planned and organized? Well then, we could say that that thing took place. Parties, weddings, classes, and big government events all take place. They were planned, a time was set beforehand, and everybody got ready for them. It would be strange to say that a party occurred, though native speakers do sometimes make this mistake.
Occur 这个动词呢，它指的是意外事故或是突发事件的发生。那我们也可以用 happen。那不过记得它的过去式过去分词呢，我们要在字尾重复 r 再加 ed 变成 occurred。那刚刚我们说到的 panic buying 到底会发生什么事情呢？为什么会发生呢？ When people worry that stores will run out of important goods, run out of something.
When stores.
Oh, when stores.
Yes.
就是商店。What did I say? People?
Stories.
Oh, stories, really? Okay, when
Some stories have lots of goods in them, but
yes.
it's more like narrative, you know?
Okay, when stores, 商店。So, run out of something 呢，它代表的是卖光或是用完、耗尽某物。For example, we are running out of toilet paper. Please buy some on your way home. 卫生纸快用完了，请你在回家的路上买一些。或者是 we are running out of time. 这代表我们时间快用完了。那课文说当人们担心商店 stores 会卖光重要的物资的时候，他就会开始恐慌性购买。
Another term is the phrase shelter in place. And this one was quite new for me. What does this one mean?
The article says this means to stay inside during an emergency in order to protect yourself and others.
Oh, I see. Like the word shelter is a special place we go when we need to stay safe from something.
Right.
Like a bomb shelter. Right.
避难所。
So when we shelter, that verb form is hiding away in a safe place. Right, why would we be doing this? Well, because there is an emergency. Emergency is a noun, and an emergency is a time of great danger or panic or stress or anything else bad when help needs to come right now. Right now, much of the world is in what we call a state of emergency. which is a time when countries can't operate normally because there is a dangerous threat. Luckily for us, Taiwan is not in a state of emergency right now. But if COVID-19 started spreading a lot, though, Taiwan would then certainly be in a state of emergency. Now, there are some similar words we can study which are like emergency. Crisis is one of them, a situation in which there are lots of problems that must be dealt with quickly. Now, whether we're in an emergency or in a crisis, we might feel like we are in a panic. And a panic is a feeling of that you get when you're feeling very scared or very worried and you can't think normally. You're very stressed because lots of bad things might happen or are happening. Let's look at an example sentence for emergency, and one which I think would make me feel like I was in a panic. When Ronald's house caught on fire, he called the firefighters to help him deal with the emergency. He sounds very calm.
Emergency 这个名词呢，代表紧急情况、突发事件。那刚刚我们在文章看到的片语 shelter in place 代表就是就地防护，那也就是在紧急事件发生的时候呢，待在室内以保护自己和他人。And then the article says, for many people recently, much of their time has been spent hiding from COVID inside their houses. 这边的 much也是个不定代名词，代替不可数的群体。Much of their time 代表他们大部分的时间都是躲在家里面的。那躲在家里面，我们可以在家上班。We work from home.
Right, of course. Now the article goes on. Some phrases sound like they're from science fiction movies. Okay, that's interesting. What are science fiction movies?
Science fiction 它代表的是科幻的，所以 science fiction movies 代表科幻类的电影。那我们还有 science fiction TV shows 科幻类的这个电视节目，或是 science fiction novels 科幻类的小说。那我们也可以不要这么烦的去说 science fiction， 我们也可以说 sci-fi.
Okay.
Then the article says one of them is the term patient zero.
Ooh, I think this was actually a scary movie once. Let's find out what this term means in a second. We also saw the word term. Now, term is a noun, and a term is a word or phrase that we use in any specific situation. We just introduced the term patient zero, which we will explore more in a minute. And other terms related to COVID include social distancing and self-isolation, both of which we looked at. Normally, when you want to look up or 查找 a specific term, that means you want to use a dictionary or a 字典. If you want to find similar words, then you can look in a thesaurus, 同义词字典. Now, here's an example sentence for the word term. The terms print, save, and click are all words you will be familiar with if you use a computer.
那文章中说到的 one of them， 这个 them 代名词指的是 phrases that sound like they are from science fiction movies， 也就是听起来像科幻片来的片语。其中一个呢是 patient zero， 我们刚刚讲到。And then the article says this means the first person to be infected by a particular disease. Infect 这个动词呢是感染。那我们看到的 the first person to be infected， 我们看到是被动的用法，也就是第一个被感染的人，我们叫他 patient zero， 0号病人或是首位感染者。
The article goes on. Finding patient zero could help scientists understand how COVID started. Right, if they understand who was the first person who got sick, they could find out what made the virus go into people.
Right, 所以找到第一个感染者呢，可以帮助科学家了解新冠肺炎是如何开始的。
The article concludes, COVID has changed many things about the way we live our lives.
新冠肺炎呢，改变了我们的生活方式。
It affects more than just health, travel, and work. It's changing our language too.
True. 新冠肺炎呢，不只影响人们的健康、旅游、工作，也改变了我们的 language 语言。
Right. It has had a big effect on the way that we speak and on the way that we behave and all of that. So it's had a big influence on us, and I hope you've enjoyed learning about some of the ways that our language has changed because of COVID. Right, now let's go through to our last For You Chat question, and we will end the unit there.
For You Chat.
Okay, so our For You Chat question for today is, are you behaving differently because of COVID-19? What about your friends or family members? Explain what's different. Okay, Elsie, you're up first. How have you changed? What's changed for you?
I think for me, I try to wear a mask when I'm on the MRT or when I'm on the bus.
Okay.
And when I see someone sneezing without a mask on, I would try to stay away from him or her.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't used to wear the mask before?
No.
But now you need it.
I try to remember to wear one.
Yes, that's very good actually. If we're all wearing masks, it's harder for the virus to spread, and that means that fewer people get sick. I think that's one of the reasons why Taiwan has had so few COVID cases.
Yeah.
For me, I think the thing that's changed the most long term has been how I wash my hands.
Oh.
I always washed my hands before, but I didn't think so much about how long I should be washing my hands.
So now how long do you wash your hands?
For about 20 seconds.
20秒.
For quite a long
20
time.
seconds.
Which, yeah, so it's what's good to remember when you're washing your hands is that just doing this doesn't clean all your hands. You need to think about getting in between your fingers, you need to go behind them, you need to get the fingertips. And so since COVID started, I always try and remind myself every time I'm washing my hands to get everything nice and clean.
Nice. Oh, and I always bring my hand sanitizer with me.
Yes, that's another good tip.
Yep.
So these little things, if we keep doing them, we might be able to make sure that Taiwan doesn't get affected by COVID until scientists can find a cure. But until then, we need to keep washing our hands, we need to keep wearing our masks, and we will see you again soon with hopefully less COVID content.
Less.
Fingers crossed.
Don't be a COVIDiot, the language of coronavirus. Not all of the COVID words that entered the Oxford Dictionary are brand new to society. However, some of them have become much more common and therefore have earned a place in the dictionary. Some of these words describe human behavior during pandemics. Panic buying is buying large quantities of common items such as food and toilet paper. This sometimes occurs when people worry that stores will run out of important goods. Another term is the phrase shelter in place. This means to stay inside during an emergency in order to protect yourself and others. For many people recently, much of their time has been spent hiding from COVID inside their houses. Some phrases sound like they're from science fiction movies. One of them is the term patient zero. This means the first person to be infected by a particular disease. Finding patient zero could help scientists understand how COVID started. COVID has changed many things about the way we live our lives. It affects more than just health, travel, and work. It's changing our language too.
Vocabulary Review.
Earn. The children worked hard all day helping their parents, and they earned an evening of rest. Behavior. Larry pushed his way onto the bus rudely, and his mom yelled at him for his poor behavior. Quantity. The small quantity of food was not worth the high price of the meal. Occur. The fire occurred in the middle of the day when nobody was at home. Term. Tommy's mother was shocked by the rude terms his friend had taught him to say. Emergency. The smoke on the plane made the passengers think there must be an emergency.
字汇小补帖
Science fiction. Infect.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net